tour. And as you all can probably see, we've had a few hiccups already this morning. The chef was not able to cook for us today. His father had a heart attack and he had to leave it in an emergency. So the food is just now getting here. We're going to start the meeting in just a few minutes, but I'm going to let you all go ahead and get food if you want to, and then we'll start the meeting. So give us like 5 minutes and I'll go ahead and start, okay? Thank you all so much for rolling with the hiccups this morning. As I said, the food was a little bit delayed, and that was out of our control, but the chefs, I believe they told me the chef's father has had a heart attack, so that's why this is all kind of delayed. Let's keep him in our prayers, though. That was definitely unexpected and an emergency that they left for. I'm going to officially call the meeting to order. You cannot hear me in the back. Is that what I'm getting? Okay. How about now? I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just playing with it. One moment. We have Food City coming to fix our microphone.
Steve Smith was the last one.
He must have a louder voice than I do.
As long as you
Hold it up.
let's see, you got the one that's oh no, you got the dead one.
Oh.
There's another one in here. There it goes. Can you hear me down there? Can you hear me down there? Okay, you have to talk this
Okay,
way.
I will. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. It is 12:15. Emily is going to lead us in our prayer, and Francesca is going to lead us with the pledge. This one is for Facebook. This one is for here. So, yes. And hold it to where you're talking right into that. Okay.
Several years ago, our chaplain, Sandra Grubbs, offered a devotion before our club that was most relevant at the time. Today, I'm going to share some of those same words with you because they are just as relevant today as they were when they were written 190 years ago. We know Noah Webster best as a lexicographer or a writer of the dictionary. However, he was much more than that. He was a political writer and a prolific author. He also was a very religious man. He said, "The Bible must be considered as the great source of all the truth by which men are to be guided in government as well as in all social transactions. In selecting men for office, let principle be your guide. Regard not the particular sect or denomination of the candidate. Look to his character. The scriptures teach that rulers should be men who rule in the fear of God, able men, men of truth, hating covetousness. It is the neglect of these rules that we must ascribe the multiple frauds, breaches of trust, and embezzlements of public property which tarnish the character of our country and disgrace government. When a citizen gives his vote to a man of known immorality, he abuses his civil responsibility. He sacrifices not only his interest, but that of his neighbor, and he betrays the interest of his country. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this gathering today, and that we live in a country where we have the freedom to choose our leadership. May we stand by your principles and by your word in your choices, that as they serve us, they will serve you as their great high authority. Bless our leaders, keep them safe, especially our president, vice president, their families, and their staff. Those in attendance today and this meal that we share together. We ask this in the precious name of Jesus. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And because we've had some hiccups, I'm going to go ahead and throw another one in. I need to make an addition to your all's agenda that's on your tables. I knew I was forgetting something when I wrote these up. We need to vote on the bylaws, and if there's no objection, I'm going to put that in after our federal, state, and local reports. Do I have any objections to that? Thank you. Okay. Then next up is Mayor Richard Venable, who I just was catching sitting down. He is the mayor of Sullivan County, and I thank you all for coming to hear him speak. Thank you, sir.
I nearly got to sit down. Gosh, the room's so big. Tim, if I move up just a little bit, be okay? I'll try to stay over here. Pay attention to Tim. He's got a lot of folks watching. Excuse me. I'm Richard Venable. I'm mayor of Sullivan County. Running for re-election. My 15th opportunity to serve the people. I won't say my last one. Nobody lame ducks themselves, do they? Actually, I headed to the back to get something to drink, and I never made it. But anyway, it's a pleasure to be with you today. I had jotted down, this is the first time I've ever been in this room without a PowerPoint. So I usually put the PowerPoint up and then get over here so you don't look at me. But I jotted down a few things that I wanted to talk about. I don't know, Congressman Black was at the Lincoln Day, Reagan Day dinner. I'm sure a lot of you were. But Representative Bud knows that nobody wants to follow him and speak. So I'm going to steal from him a little something he talked about at the Reagan Day dinner. And he said he felt like John Gabor, not broken. That he knew what to do, but he didn't know how to make it interesting. Which most of you heard that, and I'm here today. I know what to do, but I'm not sure how to make county government interesting to you. But I do want to cover a few things. Number one, I want to thank this Bristol Later Republicans Club for the generous donation you made to my campaign. It brought a tear to my eye. I will tell you that. It was extremely generous. I'll try not to let you down and represent you in the way that you have come to expect your representatives in Sullivan County and your local and your state officials. Most of you probably don't get the Kingsport Times News, but recently Bruce Shine had an article about the building of the Republican Party in Sullivan County. And Bruce surmised that the party was built by Lieutenant Governor Ron Ramsey. And that's true. Goes along. Oh, thank you. See, I appreciate that. And that's true. Ron Ramsey did that. But I don't think my friend Bruce went hardly far enough. Ron Ramsey was one of the driving forces to build a Republican Party in the state of Tennessee. Now, we have Republican governors. I worked in Lamar's 1974 campaign and his winning campaign in 78 and his winning campaign in 82. Prior to that, we had Winfield Dunn in the governor's seat. Here in Sullivan County, we had a Democrat-dominated organization back in 1980. We had a Democrat senator, and 2 out of the 3 representatives were Democrats. So when I got to the General Assembly in 1990, I took the last Democrat seat in Sullivan County. And then Ron Ramsey joined us in 1992. But that's not building a Republican Party. We elected people. We had, as I remember, we had 42 members during reinforcement in 1991 after the census. Well, we sued the Democrats, and we won the suit. We reinforced again. We had 38 members. We lost 4. We won the suit, and we lost 4. You know how that feels. If we sued again, we'd be out of existence. But we had 38 members out of 99, so the Republican Party wasn't quite built by that time. But when Ron Ramsey came to Nashville in 1992, we started seeing a turnaround. And in 1994, when Ron Ramsey announced as a candidate for the state senate from the second senatorial district here in Sullivan County, that turnaround began in earnest. And in those intervening years, during the sunkless years, even the Bredesen years, Ron Ramsey was out traveling this state to build this Republican Party. He recruited some candidates. One of the best ones he recruited is sitting right here with us today. Ron did that over the entire state. And when he came close to being elected Speaker of the Senate with a renegade senator who was a personal friend of mine, and we were in the 1990 class together, we knew it was just a matter of time. So let me say this, just a personal thanks to Ron Ramsey for recruiting all those people who are leading, most of those people who are leading Tennessee today, were recruited and helped by and encouraged by and survived and thrived under his leadership. So with regard to my friend Bruce Shine, who happens to be a yellow dog Democrat in Kingsport, he did give credit to Ron for Sullivan County. Let me talk to you just about a couple of things. I don't want to take away from the congressman. I never get used to saying congressman. I won't say congresswoman, but certainly it's the title that you fought hard for, and I'm happy for you to have. So I don't want to take away from her time. But you all know we have several extremely emotional issues locally here. Anytime you consolidate and build new schools, you have divisions, and not as much in this end of the county as Kingsport County. County Commission took a recommendation on the school board, issued $140 million in new public debt to build schools, combining 3 high schools into one. And we can't go into all the reasons for that, but I do want to tell you in the 15 years previous to that bond issue, we had spent $155 million maintaining those schools. We had 1 million square feet of high schools, and we only had students for 500,000. And so that's where we're going in Sullivan County. I know that bond issue will fund a middle school here in Bristol. It will fund a much needed renovation in Kingsport High School. So it gets controversial. I remember in 1980 when we built the schools that we're closing now. Very difficult. Same arguments, different generation. Second item I want to talk to you about today are dogs and cats. The county has not been in the dog and cat business except Sheriff Anderson had, with the K-9 Corps, had started an operation, but it was consolidated back in 2011. The consolidation didn't really take hold. We couldn't represent the whole county out of SVK. So the county took over operation of the county shelter in January of this year. We've had it for about 6.5 months now. Made tremendous progress, but never enough. Never enough. This past week, we have room for 60 cats in our shelter. We have 200. We're doing pretty well with dogs. We're adopting out dogs. We have about 46, so we're doing well with there. We've just had an explosion in that population. But we've got some initiatives underway. I've talked to Commissioner Mark Vance. He will announce an initiative in the resolution this week that will speak to the root of the animal control problem here in Sullivan County, and I think it will have 100% support. We're trying to determine the proper structure. Never having had an animal shelter, we're learning as we go. But we are taking care of the animals. They're getting humane treatment. I'm sure of that. And so we'll go in the future on that. A couple things that the county commission's been dealing with whether we broadcast our meetings. Kim's been putting our meetings on for nearly 9 months now. And I think he gets good viewership. We've had discussions about when we have our meetings. We meet at 9 a.m. on the 3rd Monday of every month. And this month we had a full courtroom, which is about 100 spectators. That's in the morning, and the commission's been criticized for meeting during the day. We have invited the public to our work session, which is at 6:30 on the previous Thursday afternoon. And we had 13 audience for the work session. And as you all know, that's where a lot of the work is done. That's where the real debate is. Monday morning's formality that we passed the legislation that we considered on the previous Thursday night. So we think we're meeting at the right time. As far as broadcasting, I don't want competition for Tim, but I have promised that if I'm reelected, that we will explore broadcasting on the local cable channels in a rebroadcast. So those are two things that we want to do to keep the public informed. We ask for their tax money. They have a right to see how it's spent and to see the sausage being made. They say two things you don't want to watch: sausage being made and laws being made. They're not the same. So, the fact is, it's a messy process sometimes, but you have 24 people there dedicated to the good of Sullivan County. I thank them for their service. As you know, we'll have at least 15 new commissioners this time. When we convene in September, we will have 5 new office holders in the county when we convene in September. So let me make the pitch. You need some experience there. I mentioned this is my 15th campaign. It's my 3rd campaign for mayor of Sullivan County. I would appreciate your vote. I appreciate your support of the county commission. Thank you. Introduction. And I will tell you one of the most outstanding people who have served in our state.
So we've also had a change of plans from our original agenda. I believe it was on Tuesday, Jordan Young called me and said, Congressman Black will be in the area. Is there any way that she could come to your meeting? And of course I said yes. So we are honored to have Congressman Black here. She is a candidate for our governor's race this year. And although we do not support or endorse any candidates that are in a Republican primary, we are thoroughly honored to have you here. Thank you.
He tells me I have to stand here way far away from you all so that I guess we're being recorded. That doesn't feel very good to me because I like being close to everyone, but Sheena, can we scoot it? Can we scoot it just a little further that way? He said just a minute. Well, I'll keep talking while you see if we can just scoot a little bit more so I can feel closer to everyone. So, Sheena, first of all, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be able to interrupt your agenda and be able to address this wonderful group of Republicans. It's such an honor for me to be here with you all today. Sheena, thank you for all of the work that you're doing for the party here. And I just thank your family for everything they've done over the years. As has already been said by the mayor, it has been tremendous to have Ron Ramsey as our lieutenant governor and to be able to serve under him and to know he has spent so many years away from his family to do what we've asked him to do, and that is to make this state solidly red, and we are solidly red. I served when we weren't solidly red, and it wasn't a lot of fun serving under Speaker Nafee, and so I just can never say thank you enough to the Ramsey family for everything you've done. Thank you, Mayor, for what you're doing here in your county and keeping your county strong. I know you have a real love for public policy, and you've given a lot of time and energy away from your family also in helping to build and keep a party strong. And you certainly were around when that wasn't the case, I know. I want to thank the sheriff. Sheriff Anderson, thank you so much. You and DA Staubus is both on my Law and Order Coalition, and I appreciate that so much. And what I've asked them to do is to just help me to be sure that when I am talking about any kind of law and order issues, that I have experts that can give me recommendations and make sure that I'm headed in the right direction. So I thank both of you for being willing to be on my leadership team. It means a world to me. Joe Zimmerman, thank you for being on my leadership team, my county leadership team, and Linda Buckles, thank you for all the service you've given to our state over the years with the women's group, and we really honor you as well. I think I remembered to name everyone that I wanted to name, and so What do you think? Can I move a little closer now?
Just bring the whole podium up.
Bring the whole podium up. And do I have to stand behind it? Yes? I am really upset. Oh, I see, this has a microphone. Okay, there we go. So do I put this microphone down and talk into this one?
That
Or?
one is for Facebook only.
I
This
see.
one is for here.
Okay, now
just the
I have the
regular
lay of the
press here.
land now, so let me just start. It is really an honor to be here today, and I want to start out by just telling you a little bit about my background, because it really informs who I am today and the way in which I operate. So I am blessed to have two parents that are 93 years old. As a matter of fact, today is my dad's 93rd birthday. My mother was 93 in February. He always teases and said he married an older woman by just a couple of months, but it still makes my mother mad today. So I am blessed to have two parents that are still living in my childhood home. My father had a 6th grade education and my mother a 9th grade education. We lived in public housing for the first years of my life until my parents were able to buy the small home they live in today. And I really didn't realize how little we had until I went to high school. And when I went to high school and introduced myself to some of the girls there, they asked me where I lived, and I told them, and they said, "Oh, you live on the other side of the tracks." There is literally a railroad track that runs down the center of our town. And it was then that I realized how little we had. But I was blessed to run into someone by the name of Mr. Richard Whiting, who was my high school counselor. And you know, back that many years ago, high school counselors helped you to figure out what your career was going to be. And Mr. Whiting asked me very early on in my 9th grade, what did you want to be? And I said, I've always wanted to be a nurse, but my mama says I can't be a nurse because we don't have money to send me to college. And Mr. Whiting said, no one is going to give it to you, you're going to earn it. And from the 9th grade through the 12th grade, he stayed with me, making sure that my grades were good. And I stand here today as a registered nurse, which I have been for more than 45 years, and I still keep my license today because of Mr. Richard Whiting. And I say that because what my family taught me, my parents taught me, is to work hard. My dad said, never, ever, ever give up. And my Christian values come from my parents. From Mr. Whiting, high expectations and high standards. And I bring that in whatever I do today from those three great people in my life. Unfortunately, Mr. Whiting is not around today to be able to see the journey that he helped to put me on. So I say all of that in order to be able to talk a little bit about where I want to go as your next governor. Let me say that I never thought about being in politics. It was while I was working in a hospital back in 1998 that I saw what TennCare was doing to our healthcare system, both in the quality of care and the cost of care. And I thought, I cannot sit by and do nothing. And that's when I ran for the state house. And we were woefully in the minority at that point in time. But I went there to fix TennCare, to take care of the patients that I was taking care of in the hospital. I happened to be there at a time when the income tax was being proposed by a governor of our own party. And I fought against that income tax. I was one of the people that encouraged you all to come downtown, beep your horns all day into the evening, and let your voice be heard. My poor secretary told me to say, stop beeping the horn. She had a headache because she sat right by a window. But we were able to defeat that, and thank goodness, because look where we are today as a result of not having an income tax. One of only 9 states in the entire nation, and our economy is good, and people want to move here for that being one of the reasons. I also, being a nurse and being a person of Christian faith, began my journey on what happened in 2000 on the life issue. And I was the one who had SJR 127 in the House of Representatives. I was the sponsor. When I moved over to the state Senate, I was the sponsor over there. And we were able to pass that in Amendment 1 this last year. So I have legislative experience both in the House of Representatives at the state level, the state Senate, and now in Congress. And I'll keep this brief on what I've done in Congress because I won't talk about all of the things that I've been able to do over the years, which has just been an honor. But in Congress most recently, I served as the budget chair. I was asked last year to serve as the budget chair. There were 4 people senior to myself. I wouldn't jump over them, but the leadership just encouraged me to do it because I studied the issue for the last 7 years, and I knew all about the budget. I knew all about the tax code that we were trying to change, and it was that passage of that budget that allowed us to be able to do tax reform this year. I was one of only 5 people that sat at the table with President Trump to negotiate the final terms on that tax reform. And you all see what's happening now. Our economy is growing. We're over 3%, and whoever thought we'd have been there just in 1 year? And so I've had the opportunity to serve in some pretty significant places. And folks say, well, why do you want to now come back home? Why don't you want to be in Congress, where you have had an opportunity to be in leadership positions? And the reason is I want to be back here to serve my state. When I went to Congress, I said I was going to do 3 things. I was going to try to get the budget under control, which we did last year. We passed the most conservative budget in the last 20 years. We were able to do tax reform and unwind Obamacare. And so those are the 3 reasons why I went there. I'm now coming back home. What do I want to do back here in this great state of Tennessee? First of all, I want to make sure that the opioids, which are near and dear to my heart as a nurse, and our family has lost 2 of my husband's siblings to opioids and overdoses. I want to be a change agent in that area, and I believe in my nursing background can really help make that happen. I know our time is limited, so I'm not going to talk all about everything we do in that. I'm just going to go over 3 things, and then if you have questions and we have time, we can talk more about solutions. The second thing that I want is I want to make sure rural Tennessee stays rural Tennessee. We're losing rural Tennessee, and the reason for that is kids are graduating from high school, and they're leaving communities because they can't find work. Even though they like the rural way of life, they can't sustain themselves without work. And so they leave their communities, and it's leaving those communities to die on the vine. And it breaks my heart. 2 things that I know they need, and I've been throughout this entire state asking, what do you need in order to stay viable? One of those is they must have broadband. The second, they must have good roads. And I want to make sure that we do that so that we can get industry into those areas. The third thing that goes along with that and ties in, and is my third subject, is education. Look, I will say the governor's done a great job in bringing us from the bottom of the pack to the middle of the pack in our educational attainment. But we're leaving a whole group out there. 25% of our students will not go to college, either because it's not something they desire to do or they can't afford to do. So when they leave high school, they should have either a skill or they should have a pathway to success. And part of that skill is to put career and technical education back in the schools. Because go back to the rural areas, what do manufacturers tell me when I try to attract them into this state? You don't have an educated workforce. And so we want to be sure that we can attract those businesses in with an educated workforce where people who work with both their head and their hands will have a skill. And you know what? I honor them every bit as much as I do somebody like me that has a 4-year degree in nursing. Because when I need somebody to fix my washing machine, when I need a plumber to fix that overflowing toilet, I love having them be able to come to my house, and it's hard as heck to get those people right now because we've told them they're not as important, that you have to have a college degree in order to be important. And they are every bit as important to our society as anyone that has an advanced degree. So I'm going to end by this. There's one additional thing beside that all of us are talking about as candidates. We have a little different idea on how we fix them, which, by the way, my little different idea on career and technical is I think you ought to have somebody asking you in the 9th grade. But even sooner than that, 7th or 8th grade, what do you want to do? Let's do an aptitude test. Let's help them find their God-given talent so that they don't, when they graduate from high school and you say, what do you want to do? And they go, I don't know. What do you want to be when you grow up? I don't know. Oh my goodness, I'm going to go to college. What are you going to study? I don't know. So you're going to go to college, don't know what you're going to study, and you're going to have debt. That does not make a bit of sense. It's our role and responsibility as educators to help them with that. So the last piece that I said I was going to talk about. Remember I told you about when my mom and dad taught me with my Christian values? I love the state of Tennessee because that's what we have here. We have a great state. And you know, we can lose those values just like that. We have people moving here from California and New York and New Jersey, and they say, I love it here. It's kind of like it was when I grew up, which is really a great thing. And then they'll be here for a while and they'll say, but that's not the way we do it in New York. That's not the way we do it in California. You know what I tell them? Go back to New York. Go back to California. Because it is the way we do it here. And if we're not careful, we can lose those Christian values that we cherish here just like that. And when they go away, you don't get them back. We're a state where we know right is right, wrong is wrong. We know truth is truth. We know God is God and a life is a life. And that's what I'm going to protect. I'm very honored to have gotten this last week, the endorsement from both NRA and the National Right to Life. So if that doesn't tell you where I stand on those issues, obviously they don't endorse you unless you have a proven record on both of those issues. So I'm going to ask for your prayers. I'm going to ask for your vote. And if you like what you hear, I'm going to ask you to join me on my team. Thank you, Sheena, so much for giving me the opportunity to speak today.
I know that this is an abnormal meeting, but I think we're going to ask her if can you stay after the meeting, or do you want to take some questions now?
Staff?
Yeah, staff.
I'm here until 1:15. Is that right? Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm here until 1:15, however you all want to do it.
Okay, we'll run through, I don't have a lot, we'll run through the last part of this, and that way if anybody else needs to leave, they can. But she will be available for questions after the meeting. Let me get back to my agenda. And again, thank you. My father ran for governor a few years ago, and I know how busy your all schedules are. Thank you very much, very, very much for coming. And I also want to thank the Sullivan County women and the Kingsport women who help us get this crowd here. We kind of worked all together to get everybody here. This is a wonderful opportunity, and we thank you for it. Next up are our federal, state, and local reports. Because we are pushed for time, I'm going to try to hit everyone that I see that is here. If you want to stand and say something brief, you are more than welcome to, but again, we're pushed for time. Let me start over here. Would you like to speak from?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Whichever.
Hi, I just wanted to introduce myself to you guys. My name's Alan Wisely, and I'm the new regional field director for the Tennessee Republican Party. So I'll be primarily, right now, I'll be working on the Senate race, and then once we have a nominee for governor, I'll be helping with that race as well. So I'll be probably coming around a lot in the next few months, so I just wanted to introduce myself to you guys real quick.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming, too. Next table. Mark Hutton is our candidate for commissioner. Thank you. Sorry. We have Bible school at my church this week. I'm not sure if anyone has ever participated and volunteered in that. It's a wonderful, rewarding experience, but there ain't no tired like Bible school tired, so just bear with me. Judge Goodwin. Judge Tipton. The mayor is there again. We have Commissioner Crawford. Oh. Let me repeat myself. Ain't no tired like Bible school tired. Commissioner McCarr.
Yes, I got defeated in the Republican primaries. However, I've chosen, I'm a trial writer. I've never done anything like that, so I'm still going to be in there plugging along for the 4th District. Currently serving.
And I'm looking through heads here. So we have Bobby Russell.
Thank y'all. I want to thank y'all for your support. It's helped the primary and look forward to thanking y'all.
I believe I see Barry Stavis back there.
Glad to be here.
Teresa Jacobs.
I just wanted to thank everyone for your support in the Republican primary and
Donna Whitaker.
I just want to say thank you also to everyone for your support in the primary. You did have an opponent in August, so I'm back at it again. Thank you all.
Representative Crawford. So you get to say your name twice there. There you are again, yes. Dustin Goforth, who is the chair of the Sullivan County Republican Party. We have Sheriff Anderson. And
Thank you for your support in the primary, and remember you got ballot selections. I think you supported that. Thank you for everything.
Committee woman Linda Buckles.
I just want to thank you all for the nice card that you sent on the congratulatory card on being statement of the year.
Yes.
And also for the little word that you put in your newsletter. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome. Congratulations.
I'm honored. And I would like your vote, even though I don't have an opponent, I still need votes.
I understand that. We have Gail Morton, who is our Area 1A Vice President.
Good to be here.
We have Commissioner Bill Kilgore. Lana Smith, who is the President of our Sullivan County Republican Women.
And we meet the second Tuesday of the month in Longville at Pizza Plus. We love to have you. Dinner's at 5:30 and our meeting's at 6:30. Thank you.
And let me state too, I know the other presidents and we spoke several times this week. These clubs, they may say Kingsport, Bristol, or Sullivan County, but we are a big team. Any of the meetings that you can hit, go for it, because they're going to give you the opportunity to meet candidates, to meet faces. It's just a great opportunity, and like I said, we're kind of a big network that we all work together. Have I skipped anyone? Oh, you're hiding. I saved the best for last. Susan Ramsey is in the back. Woo-hoo. I really am sorry. I tend to skip you somehow every time. Anybody else? And I'm Sheena Tinsley. I'm your Register of Deeds. Thank you. Thank you. I'll pay you for that one later. I am also on the ballot in August, and I would greatly appreciate your vote as well. Let's see, bylaws. Those bylaws went out with your newsletter in your email this week or last week. Did anyone see any changes or any errors in that? There were a few changes, the biggest one being that we are adding an assistant treasurer to our officers. Do we have any changes that need to be made? If not, we have a motion from the board to approve the minutes approve the bylaws as presented. Can I get a vote on that? Everyone in favor, say aye. 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 All opposed? Okay, bylaws pass. Second motion on the table is Miss Judy Young has volunteered for that assistant treasurer. She's looking at me big-eyed like she had forgotten. So the board would like to nominate her as that assistant treasurer. Do I have any nominations from the floor? Any nominations from the floor? And one more time, any nominations from the floor? Nominations close, and we will vote for Judy Young as our assistant treasurer. All those in favor? Aye. All opposed? Congratulations. Thank you all for doing that. Our next order of business is door prizes. Our door prize has been donated by Gail Morton, correct? Yes. Judy is drawing a number. 5106. Yay, Teresa. Our secretary is not here, so we will move those approval of the minutes to the next meeting. Z, do you have a membership report for us?
Okay, this month we have 47 members, and then we developed a social member. We got 36. Thank you.
47 members and 36 associate members, correct? And we are still taking dues if you want to join our club. We've got a crowd today, so feel free. Announcements that I have, early voting starts in a few weeks, July 13th through July 28th. If you want that schedule, I encourage you to go to scelect.org. They have the schedule, they have a sample ballot, it's a wonderful website. Giving a plug to Jason Boer. Our second announcement is for our next meeting. The originally scheduled date was actually right before our our general election. So we've moved that up a week, and we're going to do it at Cootie Brown's on Monday, July 6th, and that is at 6 p.m. We invite all candidates to come. It's going to be a very informal meet and greet type event. So just a social hour there. Do I have something wrong? July 23, what did I say? That's close enough. Close enough. July 23rd at 6 o'clock. And then our general election's August 2nd. I also have been asked if you all want to volunteer. The YRs are looking for volunteers to do the 4th of July parade in Kingsport. They would be walking, handing out brochures that have all the candidates listed on them. They would love some volunteers for that. So if you would like to, feel free to contact me and I can push your information along to the right person. Have I skipped over anything else? If not, I just want to say thank you again for kind of bearing with us through these hiccups. Life throws you some curveballs and you just got to roll with it. And the meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you.